Out here in the greenhouse, things are looking good. Everything's growing well. These have been through their flowering phase and they're done. These are going to hit their flowering phase, my apple mint, soon. The thyme up front is greatly flowering, and this oregano back here, I think that's the hot and spicy oregano, which I love. We've been eating the tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, regularly from this one, and I think I had a couple off this one as well. This is really growing. It's tall now. It's going to catch up to my height, but I have to keep it watered well. The heat out here is brutal, so that's harsh. My catnip is starting to grow a little bit. It's slow though. There's one in my shadow. What else we got here? Oh no, one of my tomatoes fell off. The stinging nettle. Everybody keeps asking me why stinging nettle is useful, and because it stings, and I'm gonna have to do a video on that one day. The strawberries have recovered from the intense heat, and my chilies, but they're not growing. They're not doing much. I don't know if it's the extreme heat or what. The tomatoes up front aren't doing anything either, so I think I'm going to hit them with, did I put Epsom salt? I'm going to put Epsom salt on them. Or did I? Yeah, I put Epsom salt on them, but I haven't put on the organic fertilizer yet. So I'm going to have to hit them with that. And I've been harvesting chamomile heavily. This here I harvested yesterday a lot. And the here and that bunch, and there was some over here. There's chamomile over here. I can't see my camera. It's too bright out. My Swiss chard is just about ready to start eating, so that's nice. And we've been using herbs out here regularly for our cooking. My little fig is happily growing. All these are, this is all new growth in here, and there's some new leaves starting to branch on here. And it's starting to shoot up here. So I'd be curious to see, oh, there's another new branch. See if the fig tree, there's another new shoot down here, will happily survive here in the elements with that I can provide for it. It'd be really interesting to see. I hope it does well, because it'd be neat to have figs. I know it's going to be hard for me to give it the proper growing season, but in the greenhouse, once I get the roof on, maybe I'll be able to take care of that properly. Over here in the aquaponics, things are bushing out beautifully. My mustard greens are starting to sprout, go to seed I should say. I don't know what's happening to these. These are being devoured or destroyed by something. They look horrible. And this one has died, so I don't know if it was too high. I mean, they grew at first and they looked good. Well, here, this one for example. One leaf is clean and good, and the others look like they've been brutalized. I don't know what's going on. Now the chicory is starting to grow. All the chicory that I had tossed in there is starting to take root and grow. And the onions, Melanie came out and says, wow, look at the onions. These are the ones that, they were just little stubs when I put them in here. And they're loving this. Look at that. The mint is struggling, but I think certain plants probably need more nutrients than others. And it's going to take time for this to get established properly. The kale and cabbages are looking good. Fish are fine, but the algae is starting to grow on the side wall of this, so I'm going to have to put up a dark screen to stop the growth during the daytime. They'll still get enough light reflected from around and back and behind, but I definitely have to close this off and stop algae growth, because soon I won't be able to see a thing inside there. As it is, it's hard to see anything now anyway. But it's working well. It's still running very well. Over here at the mill, I've lubed up the chain, and I can't find my grease gun yet. I'm looking for it, or I can't find the grease. I have grease for a small grease gun, and I have a large grease gun and no grease. So I'm still sorting out tools since we moved here. But I've lubed up the threads and ran this all the way up to the top and then back down again. And I've lubed up the chain, and I've lubed up all the bearings. I sprayed everything quite heavily, and I've lubed up all the nuts and bolts in case I ever want to move anything. And I figured out how this works and how to adjust it and everything else. It's a very, very smooth Very smooth operating machine. Really nice. Looks like it's definitely not level. Right there is a little bit, I think, yeah, here's a high point in the middle and a low spot here. So I'm going to have to shim it and level it. I'm going to get the boards off the ground and get this all shimmed properly and leveled and get the whole thing on some treated lumber. Right there to level off and stay. One of my bushings dropped down, so I'm going to have to push that back up. But then again, he said this has been sitting for 50 years, so. Now, I'm hoping to be able to free this chain up and clean it. I've sprayed it heavily with WD-40, which is all I have on hand. Sad thing about the lubrications these days, the cans, use half a can and it has no more pressure after sitting on the shelf a while. They lose their pressure, and I've had WD-40 and PB Blaster and Liquid Wrench. All three of those now. Brand new cans, get them about a third to a half down, so you still got 2/3 to a half of a can, and then set it aside and come back to it later and the can is empty. No pressure. It's really frustrating that these things these days are leaking out. So anyway, WD-40 is what I had, and I've lubed the chain, and I don't have the money right now to buy another chain, so I'm hoping to be able to free this up. I'll have to work the links carefully with my hands and get them all freed up, and then you know, experiment, because I'm really itching to make some cuts, and I don't have to wait I don't want to have to wait a month or two till I can afford to buy the chain. But I do have the proper files for this. Since we were living in New York, Chris was helping me, and he was doing the chainsaw sharpening for me, and he preferred the hand filing set, which I have, so I can fix this up myself. That'll be good. At least I'll be able to get some cuts out of this and do some practicing until I can afford to buy the proper chain. And maybe I can even sell some wood products to reinvest back into this. That'd be cool. So we'll see how that goes. I don't see any danger in this. The only thing I can foresee is that the chain will obviously have to get more and more tension on it as I go, you know, because it's going to start to stretch a little bit. You know, but if I can get some cuts out of it and do some practicing, hey, great. I've practiced with the hooks. I found the original PDF owner's manual to this, operation manual, which is great. Now this rail is a welded rail. This is a one-piece welded rail with extensions. So here's an extension bolted on. And so there was three rails together, which is great. So anyway, I'll be working on that throughout the day on and off. And try to find my grease gun. Melanie reorganized the entire house today, and some of you may remember I got this Kenmore beast of a HEPA air filter a while back, and I'm running that, forgive the massive wires, but I'm running that directly off the solar hookup here, and we're pulling in, it's all mirror image. We're pulling in 12.2, 12.4 amps and sitting around 13 volts on the battery bank. With that on, plus my monitor and keyboard, or my monitor and laptop are on, and then whatever else. Baby cat. Okay, there's the baby. Oh, the door opened. Now she ran. We've got various plugs in here charging at any given time, and the modem is on full time, and I got extension cord. I can run the fridge, freezer combo, and everything else off this. So it's pretty good. I know it's a bit of a mess. We have to clean up this little bit of wiring. I think it would look nice if I zip tied a wire or two up here for charging our phones and devices up on the top shelf. That'll look better, maybe. Now on top of everything else, Melanie has the laptop plugged in and charging. Forgive my backpack, I'm sorting through it, and that's in there. And we're still at 12.8 volts and 12.1 amps coming in. Over here I'm working on my root vegetables. We missed the spring planting, but you can still do planting all season long. So I'm going to do this is all my roots. There's carrots, there's turnips, there's parsnips, there's rutabaga, kohlrabi, different beets, and different types of radishes. I'm experimenting with different types here. I'm just going to plant a few of each. Now what I'm going to do is I laid them all out and I'm going to write a label on the paper towel and then put the seeds on the paper towel. Now I won't be recording it because there's a lot of noises going on in the house right now, but I will show you as I get it set up. Alright, under each of these I've put the label, and then what I'm going to do now is spill out some seeds in each of the segments, and I'm going to moisten them and then put paper towels on the top. This will help germinate them faster so that we can get the planting in quicker. Now everything's laid out and nicely labeled, and now I'm going to wet it down and put a cover on top, a wet paper towel on top, and wait a few days, and as they sprout we plant them. And there they are. So I'll let them sit. You want to soak them extremely heavily the first day and then just keep them damp after that. And then I'm going to do another tray which will sit on top of this. These are awesome. These are from the dollar store, and these are the mud trays for inside your door. We use them for starting our seeds. It's awesome for sprouting. So I've got a bunch more stuff, some herbs and stuff for the greenhouse, so I'm going to do next. Here guys, there's a big difference. 93 degrees but only 26% humidity, and I'm still working outside. It is bearable. It's the humidity that gets me, and today is very nice. So there's a big difference. A lot of people are talking about how weak I am and unfit for working outdoors and all that, but it's the humidity. If anybody doesn't know what that is, come on over to Michigan. Anybody who's ever visited us has left understanding fully what that's about. By the way, inside, lower temperature, higher humidity, less comfortable than outdoors. It actually feels cool out right now compared to indoors, and that's the big key right there. Hey guys, this is how I cut extremely heavy cable. This is a, what is this, a 1/0 gauge wire. I'm going to use this for my power inverter inside the electronics shop. I don't think I'm ever going to use this clip, so I might as well cut this off right here. Now the Sawzall makes a really neat cut. You just got to support it well enough. Turn it on me. The other problem is my battery come loose in this. There we go. It's a relatively neat straight cut. So then I don't have such a mess on the ends when I try to put my terminals on there. I have one slipped in here to see if it would fit and see if I had the right terminals. I gotta get the wood shop wired again, and it hasn't been wired since I hooked up the house. Not with the high power inverter. I need to get the high power going so I can run the wood shop properly. This is sort of stiff. Hope it's alright. Sort of crunchy inside. I hope it's alright. I can't afford to cut any off. So I want to run a rim all the way around this, the ring, to cut the insulation off. It's really stiff wire to deal with. And then cut that down through to the edge, and then it should peel off. Well, yeah, it's a little bit corroded inside. I hope that won't affect its performance any. This wire has seen some hardcore use and abuse in its time. Really hope that's not going to affect anything. Otherwise, I see it's been damaged to here. I might have to check it. I'm going to check the length of this. This is swollen here up to this point. There must have been a hole in the wire. I'm going to see if I can make that fit like that. I'll be back in a minute.